Hello and welcome to episode 43 of When the Flames Go Up, the ATFC podcast with me, Will Brown. Today, the episode, a little bit hither and dither. It was all here, there, and everywhere. Talking about Wealdstone at home in the FA Trophy with the 3-1 win, while Storm Dara raged on. We talk about Solihull away with a 2-1 defeat, which was last night as we recorded. And we don't know the result of Chertsey versus Dagenham, so we couldn't really speculate on that um, just yet. And then we look ahead to Halifax at home at the weekend. Pretty standard stuff. Just wanted to front up the episode as I did last week. We obviously got news about Tommy Witherington, um, and yeah, that he'd had two strokes, and I think still in a stable condition as we speak. So yeah, just want to reiterate and send our best wishes to him and all the family. Obviously, I think last week I said I hope hope to see him back in the dugout, but um, yeah, if that's not a prospect or a possibility, then um, just to see him back at the EBB at some point in the future would be great. And yeah, just wanted to front up the episode like that. We didn't want to kind of leave it to the others to discuss. I mean, it's the same messaging across all of our things. And then the only thing to say, I'm away at the weekend, so the episode next week we're going to be discussing best and worst home shots shirts. So the same panel that you're going to hear in a second. We stayed online and started discussing our favorite shot shirts, why the players. Then we talk about our worst ones and what kind of makes a good older shot home kit as well. I'm sure debates will be raging on. So yeah, watch out for that next week. In the meantime, enjoy the episode. Up the shots. So the shots, as we record last night, went to Solihull Moors, and I was watching on DAZN for the first time in what seems an age. The streaming has come a long way in those couple of years. With one commentator, that's okay. We didn't get a double. The shots went down 1-0 in the 10th minute. A free kick from John Bostock, put away by Connor Wilkinson. A kind of free header. And it stayed that way for the rest of the first half. Pretty standard National League first half with not many chances for either team. The shots did come out in the second half and staged a pretty dominant platform, and then got their goal, got the equaliser through Jack Barham in the 56th minute. And yeah, domination remained until Jack Stevens picked up the ball about 22 yards out and pinged it over and around Geordie to make it 2-1 in the 89th minute. And Moors didn't really need to cling on. They were kind of, yeah, they just sat back, added another defender to their back line, matched our five at the back, and clung on to the 3 points. So shots still waiting for their first away win since Halifax all the way back in August. Guy and Ian were also on the DAZN stream. Going to come to you first, Guy. What were your impressions of the game overall and the result?
I mean, it wasn't great, was it? I know that you put in the show notes to talk about some of these moments of sort of chances and some brilliance, but honestly, for me, it was watching one average team play another average team in an average game, which was somewhat underwhelming. Yeah, there were pockets, there were moments where Aldershot sort of created a few, I wouldn't even call them chances, half chances. Yeah, I mean, obviously the goal that even Aldershot's goal came out of nothing really. Yes, we weren't really there in the first half. Yes, we had possession in the second half, but it really didn't translate a lot into knocking on the door type chances, half chances at best. And I think this is the real struggle that we're seeing. I mean, we've been talking about this over previous weeks about trying to find the right partnerships, the right connections. And I think there was an instance where we talked about this a few weeks back where we just thought it was starting to click, but it just, to me, it's not happening at the moment. It really isn't. I don't know what you think.
Well, I don't know. I mean, after watching that second half, I was quite encouraged. I feel
Hmm.
like Well, I don't know. I thought we pushed them back. They were kind of pinned back in there on their 18-yard box. It was about us breaking them down. I don't think we played badly in that second half to, um, and didn't give away many half chances the other way. And even the goal we conceded is not. I don't think it's a chance. I mean, it's poor that we're so far off Stevens when he turns, but yeah. How would you feel, Ian, about last night's performance?
Yeah, encouraged on what I saw in the second half. And when we did the preview for this game, I thought, well, you never know. Solihull might be the sort of game where we raise ourselves. First half, unfortunately, it didn't look like that at all. Behind, didn't create anything. Their goal, first goal, was much too easy for them. Crossing free header from about 6 yards out. So half time was like, okay, need to be careful here. This could be quite dangerous. But we came back well in the second half. Yes, we didn't create loads of chances, but we certainly tried to take the game to Solihull and gave it a good go. But ultimately, again, we've got 0 points when we could have had three and would have been happy to settle for one, but we've got none. And we need all the points we can get at the moment. So, yeah, there were positives, but yeah, not enough to feel satisfied.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for large that last kind of 15, I didn't think there would be any other result other than an Aldershot win. I do think we were knocking on the door. I know it's easy to say when we get kind of 3 or 4 corners within 5 minutes. You think surely we're going to score from one of these, but I mean, in classic Aldershot fashion, we are somehow dreadful. Despite having a very good ball winner in Dan Ellison, we cannot score from corners. Go for it, guy. Well,
No, I mean, yes, maybe I'm being a little bit too hard, but I just feel that, we were much better in the second half. That was certainly the case, but we weren't making any very clear-cut chances. There were a few, possible, a few sort of shots that went wide. Well, I think one did clip the post, but nothing that really made me feel like we're on top. And this is, I think, the difference between us, say, this season versus last season, because this season we really are struggling. And whereas last season we were free flowing, we were scoring. Of course, we were leaky at the back as well. And so in that sense, that I should also say that, I think I messaged you guys after the equalizer. I said, well, if we could just hold on for 5 minutes, because generally we tend to, get a bit weak at there, and we did pretty well there. So that was great. And to be fair, I think we all agree that the Solihull winner just really came out of nothing. So it is frustrating that we've ended up with nothing. But it is also, I don't know if it's just me as well, but I really feel that over the last couple of months, after sort of this great start we had in August and part of September, there have been games where I think we would settle for a point. And I don't think that was the case last season. This season, we do feel like, particularly when we're playing against some of the better teams like Gateshead last month, we felt, wow, we came back with a 2-2 there. That was good. We got a point there. But here we are playing a mid-table side, and yes, we could have and we should have got a draw, but in the end, we've ended up with nothing.
yeah, true. I do think in the second half that Solihull would have definitely taken a draw. I think
Mm,
they were almost looking for it as well. That the way they'd maybe not they didn't sit back necessarily, but they were certainly on the erring on the side of caution when the shots were on top last night. And we've got a man that was there. Have you warmed up, Julian? And how did you find last night's game at Solihull?
I will. It was um, rather cold. I was going to say something else then, but pretty cold and but strangely enjoyable. I was thinking on the way home after the motorway was closed. It took me 4 hours. I was thinking on the way home that I was actually quite contented in a way. The result obviously went against us with the last minute winner, but I thought we played really well in the second half, and it was it didn't look like a team in relegation form, to be honest. But I guess you also do have to be really realistic and say that games are won and lost in both boxes, and we didn't take our chances, and we weren't good enough, especially in the first half for the first goal. So you have to say that we do need to get better if we want to ensure that we're not ending up in the bottom four. But I was especially after the first half. I think I mentioned it in our WhatsApp group that I travelled all that way to see a corner, and that was it for the first half. So really much better second half. And what also pleased me as well was that it seemed to me that Hugo made the right subs at the right time as well, and that's not often we can say that. So I thought he did it absolutely perfectly, and I think you got to say that Wonder Goal did win the game. There's been a bit of discussion about whether the deep lying midfielder should have covered it. Obviously, we haven't got one with Tetek and Hargreaves. So, but for me, if you're playing with a back three, that for me is the role of the right centre back of the three to be probably stepping out and filling that space where Stevens scored the winner from. Solihull played with a back four, and they looked really comfortable for the first half. And to be fair, they did deal with most of what we threw at them in the second half as well. But it was just that sort of space which perhaps we didn't cover, and that's where I would have expected the right centre back of the three to probably step out and cover that space. But we move on. We are, I think, better for it, and I really like the look of Johnny Stuttle as he came on. I think he's got something to offer as well, which is a new dimension which we haven't had this season.
Great. And you were one of the 102, I think. Was it 102 in the away end last night?
Yeah, there was 102. I actually thought the Solihull support was shocking. I was really, really surprised. There was, there wasn't even a section of Solihull supporters that were singing or chanting or anything. It was just there was about 6 10-year-olds that stood next to us trying to make a noise, and that was it. Really surprised, bearing in mind that they are a good team and that they are pushing towards the Football League. Really surprised at the lack of support there last night.
Yeah. I think it was 700 overall with 100 from Aldershot, which is quite. I mean, obviously the conditions probably didn't help for anyone travelling from close by, not faced with a 4-hour journey home. I did want to mention that the goal that we scored and the kind of move with we were kind of passing the ball around. We had with Geordie and Bird, which I was, I'm sure people watching along were like, oh, come on, don't, someone get rid of it. But they stuck to their guns and kind of worked it, got a bit of space, and Dejan Tetek was able to drop deeper, and he receives the ball under a lot of pressure. I think there's probably only one player in the team that can then turn that into a positive, and he plays this reverse pass to Hargreaves, cuts out about 4 Solihull pressing players, and then we break away with Ryan Jones and I can't remember who else, but Ryan Jones bundles into the box, gets the ball into Barham, obviously, who stuck it home. I thought it was a really good move. I think that kind of, I mean, it's just nice to see that we can actually counter-attack when we are pressed. Obviously, I guess our problem moving forward is going to be breaking teams down that are below us as we move on for the rest of the season. We've covered the Solihull Moors game. I'm sure we'll also touch on other bits of it as well. Julian, we're going to touch on the Wealdstone game on the weekend. Ian and Guy were not there or didn't follow the game. So I was going to ask you what you felt about the game on Saturday and getting through to the next round.
Yeah, I thought we again gave another good showing. Actually, it's nice to see Maxi take advantage of a mistake in the defence to shoot first time. I thought we showed a lot of confidence to put that ball away, and it was a different performance against Wealdstone than the one before. I think Ian might have mentioned it last week that we cannot do the same sort of performance again against Wealdstone. And I thought, I know they made a few changes, but yeah, I just thought we were right on it, and I think we wanted it more than them. And I thought we fully deserved our place in the next round. I think Chertsey and Dagenham are playing tonight, aren't they? To fight for the right to come to the rec. I'm secretly hoping that it's Chertsey because I used to live in Chertsey, so I know the area really well, and I've been to their little ground. I went there when we were just starting out again back in '90, whenever it was. So I've got a bit of a fond spot for Chertsey. So I'm hoping it's them.
Nice. Yeah, they are playing tonight. Before the game, I was feeling a bit glum, I think, and I made the when I saw that Chertsey Dagenham was off, I was like, oh, we'll definitely win today and get Chertsey or Dagenham away, get all excited, and then Dagenham will win, and I'll have to go to Dag Red away again. And it nearly worked out that way, but the other way around. So the shots won 3-1 in Storm Dara conditions. I don't think it didn't affect the game as much as the Altrincham game, which I believe was Storm Burt or the one after that. Can't remember if there was a Storm C that weekend. Storm Kieran, something. I can't remember. Anyway, I thought it would affect it more because it was definitely gustier. But the ball, it was, I think because it was gustier, there was less of a kind of general effect. And yeah, Ian obviously mentioned last week about we've just got to make some chances, and that was exactly what they did. Plenty of chances. I think we could have had a few more. I think we had the ball in the back of the net with Mullins. We were offside about 15 times, which was slightly annoying. But yeah, all in all, quite a good cup performance. Quite annoying that it was in the cup. Like in the back of my head, I was like, oh, wish we could put in a performance like that against Wealdstone in the league as well. But quite interesting that two captains scored. We had captain Josh Barrett scored to open the scoring, and he was subbed off. And then Aaron Jones took the armband and then drilled it in from 25 yards out. And then, as Julian mentioned, Mullins with the final one. The other thing I was going to mention was just Dejan Tetek is kind of it randomly after fits and starts of getting 20 minutes here and a couple of late cameos. He nearly completed 90 minutes in that one. I can't remember if he got subbed off last night. Did he get subbed off? I can't remember. But yeah, he basically made 95 minutes against Wealdstone before being subbed off, and was on the pitch for the Solihull game for most of it. And it does make a huge difference to getting the ball forward. And I think he also breaks up the pace so much as well. I mean, he's underrated with how much he breaks up opposition attacks. Although not being kind of a defensive-minded midfielder, I think he just does it naturally anyway. So yeah, Shots will play Chertsey or Dagenham on Saturday the 4th of Jan. So quite a weird, quick turnaround from the Sutton game on New Year's Day to look forward to. The only other thing was Dan Ellison. I mean, in both of these games, I said it on the WhatsApp chat where Solihull, who was dominant. I don't think he missed a header last night, and didn't against Wealdstone either. Despite, as I said, the wind was still pretty bad, and he still managed to get his head on everything. So he's been a real.
Do you think, Will, that he's going to stay beyond January? Because I was just looking at the squad depth that we've got at the moment, and there was 4 or 5 players that didn't even make the bench last night. So my only concern is that he is, in my eyes, the best of the back defenders at the moment, but he's only with us till January. So I'm just wondering whether with Luke Jenkins returning and obviously Makoma waiting to play again, whether or not, unfortunately, they may not continue with Ellison and he might go back to Bristol Rovers.
It's potentially. I would say you just have to snap their arm off. If we can get him to the end of the season, then I think we have to take him without even hesitating. If we've got him this long for, we've still got contracts on the other players. I think if we can afford to have him for longer, then I think we definitely should. there's no telling where we're going to get more injuries in the defence at some point anyway. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure Bristol Rovers are looking, and I don't know. The last two performances, I'm thinking he's way above this league defensively. Annoyingly, not so much going forward, despite being told that he was kind of this corner merchant. He's going to score loads of goals. He had a big chance against Wealdstone and managed to head it over, uh, heading it into the ground and over. I think he had a kind of half chance last night that came off his head the wrong side. So yeah, hopefully he can get a goal or two before. Yeah, at the end of January by the time his loan comes up. All right, well, we're doing this in a slightly strange fashion. But Saturday sees Halifax come to the Rec. The Shots won 1-0 at home last year, one of the more memorable goals of last season, with Laurent Tolage scoring in the 98th minute to win it. And Halifax have had that defeat and the 5-1 before that, their last two visits to the Rec. So, and as mentioned before, we beat Halifax in August. So this is our first chance to do the double over a team. I'm going to come to you first, Guy. How are you feeling about Halifax at home at the weekend?
Well, as you say, I mean, given sort of our previous performances against them, I should feel confident. And yet, and also looking, because I always do this. I look at the odds, and it does seem that it's leaning more towards Aldershot than to Halifax, according to the betting companies. If we look at sort of the last four games as well, I mean, Halifax is, and this includes the cup games as well, right? So Halifax has lost one and drawn three, and they seem to be struggling for goals. So if there's any team that's there for the taking, it really is Halifax. They are very mid-table at the moment, right? And so this is sort of where we're at. I mean, if we look at sort of the form guide, the last six games or so, we are actually Aldershot, we are in relegation territory. Halifax is pretty much mid-table. Mid-table if you take the whole league, mid-table if you take just the last few league games. So they are an average team. So I think this is a real test for us, right? Because we've got, I mean, just as Solihull was mid-table, Halifax is also mid-table, and these are the teams we really do need to be getting a result against. If we're going to be able to sort of make sure that we're not at the bottom end of the table come the end of the season. It's also, we are now not far off coming into the Christmas period where the games come thick and fast. And so, we do need to get a bit of a bounce. And we've also discussed this in previous weeks. We have had games where we sort of seem to we get a win and we think, great, we're about ready to start, and then it all falls apart again. And we really can't afford to be doing this now in the next few weeks. So, I mean, yes, I would like to see Halifax being the start of an unbeaten run. So fingers crossed.
Let's go for fingers crossed. So yeah, Halifax are currently 11th after 21 games. As similar to Solihull, they are 2 points off sixth, which would put them two places in the playoffs, which is a bit mad. So their away form is pretty good. They're ninth in the away table if you look at those. They've won four, drawn three, and lost two away from home so far this season. They've only played nine away. That means, I think, four, yeah, nine away. So they're catching up on away games. Ian, how are you feeling about Halifax at home?
I was going to say I was quite positive, but now you read that away record, I think, oh, they sound like the ideal team set up to come and smash a 1-0 from us. So a bit worried about what you've said there. Tight game, I expect. And yeah, with Forest Green the week after away, we've got to win, really, haven't we? It's getting too close to that bottom four. So yeah, concerned. It does have a sort of 0-1 feel to me about it, but hopefully I'll be wrong.
Let's hope. Let's hope. They are usually a pretty sturdy opposition. I seem to remember we didn't really get that many chances against them last season. And that's why they kind of didn't feel like a smash and grab last year. We were on top of that game, but it didn't feel like we were ever going to get a chance worthy of winning a game. But obviously, when you've got someone like Laurent Talladge, you can find a little moment of magic. Julian, how are you feeling about Halifax at home?
Yeah, I think very similar to what Guy and Ian have said, actually. I think Guy made a good point that Halifax aren't the greatest of scorers, and that's quite a common theme with them. They seem to grind out good results. They'll never be one of those teams that gets thrashed. And so again, like Ian was saying, I think there's only going to be a goal, perhaps, or two in it. So, but having said that, I think our home form has picked up recently. A lot more confident with the performances over the last month than before that. And again, if you look at the last sort of 4 or 5 games, we have been scoring regularly at home. So, yeah, I'm confident that we can get the right result on Saturday and set us up nicely for Forest Green and then into the Christmas period.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, the last few home games, I was thinking, Wealdstone at home. I walked out there thinking there was no team other than Aldershot that was going to win that game today. And I said the same for the Altrincham game. It was Aldershot were on top and won the game. I think that's a good sign going to the Rec, thinking that now. I mean, I wasn't particularly buzzing for Wealdstone when I was walking along with not enough clothes on. I don't know what I thought. I don't know why I didn't look at the forecast. It was absolutely horrible in the East Bank. I was basically just hopping on one foot the entire first half and half time. Miserable day. But by the end of it, I was like, oh, come on, it's just nice to see us look so confident at home. So the Halifax, so I'm feeling a bit confident about Halifax. I'll be watching on from Malaga in Spain. I've got my DAZN pass ready to go. So looking forward to watching my first stream of an Aldershot game for a home game. That's going to feel even weirder. Can't remember the last one. It might have been Halifax in that 5-1. Was that, how many years ago was that? Was that 2 years ago? Halifax, Aldershot. Sorry, this is...
Must be 2 years ago. That's when was Glover and Amazula scored, didn't they?
Yes. Yeah, 5:20 kickoff. Had to miss it. September 2022. Nice. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we can probably wrap it up there, I would say. Unless anyone's got any other business. I don't think so. Cool. Well, thank you, Ian. Thank you, Guy. Thank you, Julian.
Cheers, up the shots.
Thank you. Nice talking to you guys again.
Yeah, thanks very much.